Proverbs 3:17. Derachecha darchei noam, v'chol netivoteha shalom. So here we've got a couple of other verbless clauses in this case, and we begin with her ways. Notice we've got the word derech here. Derech. Now, derech is a segulate noun as well, and notice with the third feminine singular pronominal suffix, this would be her ways. Now, yod right here, this pronominal suffix with the yod is going to be the plural noun of ways, and so her singular, ways plural, her ways, and then here's our verbless clause, are, and then we get the construct, ways of, and notice the makef here that gives us that construct, ways of, and then we get noam, pleasantness, or delightedness, something like that. So her ways are ways of pleasantness. Again, be reminded that the her that we're talking about here is wisdom, and then maybe understanding if we see both of those as feminine singular nouns, which they are. But I think here this personification of wisdom as the beautiful woman that should be pursued. Her ways are ways of pleasantness. In other words, it's going to be good. The ways of wisdom are good for you. They're pleasant. They are delightful. And again, all of this is part of this bigger picture in chapter 3 of the allure of wisdom, trying to, as the father is laying this out to the son, trying to get him to see the desire for wisdom, the want for wisdom, versus what we see in other places in Proverbs 1-9, this contrary desire for Lady Folly. We don't want to pursue Lady Folly. We want to pursue Lady Wisdom because her ways are pleasant, ways of pleasantness. And this would be what we might call an adjectival genitive or an attributive genitive, if we want to use that terminology. Again, I understand that Hebrew does not have a genitive, but that is the construction being conveyed here. And what we have with the noam is an adjective meaning pleasant ways. Her ways are pleasant ways. In the next section, we get and all of her. There's the plural pronominal suffix again, eha, so it's third feminine singular suffix, her, but the noun is plural. And this is another word for paths or something like that, ways. You can see the parallelism here, right? So we have, and all her paths are, there's our verbless clause break again, all her paths are shalom, peace, and all her paths are peace. Now, the verbal root that is related to shalom, shalam, shin, lamed, mem, this verbal root has something like to do with repay or to become whole, to become complete. And I oftentimes will talk about it as to come full circle. And so bringing this idea full circle back to where it was beginning. So it's complete, it's full. And that's where I think we get this idea of peace with shalom. And so another way you could say this is all of her paths come full circle. Now, we have to be careful that we don't read too much into shalom, just peace, and I think it could mean just that. But it is interesting that this verbal root has those connotations of repayment, being complete, coming full circle, that kind of idea. And so another way that you could see this is, and all of her paths are in the fullest sense the way they are supposed to be, something like that, which obviously brings peace. And so here we get her ways are ways of pleasantness, or her ways are pleasant ways, and all of her paths are peace.